Hello everyone, welcome in. In this video, we'll be doing things just a little bit different. I am going to be reviewing some witness testimony in the Charlie Adelson murder trial, specifically his sister, Wendy Adelson, because it is her husband or ex-husband per se, Dan Markel, who was tragically murdered by three people who have been brought to justice, but it is believed that this man here, Charlie Adelson, is alleged to have been involved and concocted this whole thing along with his mother, mainly in the hopes to get his sister, Wendy Adelson, the woman on the stand in the video we will be watching, to move closer to family. They hated the ex-husband, very nasty, bitter divorce. I figured this was going to be interesting to any of my other, law fans in here. This was, I was listening to it in the background last night, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is actually some pretty awesome examination. Now, this is the state's witness. This isn't cross-exam, but Wendy Adelson has a lot on the line. She does not want certain information being brought about, and she wants to clarify information, much like, for those of you interested in the Alexi Treviso case here, Rosa, and how Rosa may end up being on the stand. Now, Rosa may either be more hostile or docile than this woman, who knows. And this woman on the stand, as well as her ex-husband, were both law professors with law degrees, right? So they also are a little bit more educated in the law than Rosa will be on the stand, but I'm getting some vibes of how Rosa may present on the stand with this woman. So I will be jumping around a little bit because sometimes there's lulls, and if you're not following the case, not every piece of it is necessary, but there are some more interesting and juicy parts that will play through, but sometimes I'll pause and talk. Sometimes I will just talk over it. So let's get into this. I have it queued up here at one of the first parts. So let's listen. Okay, here we go.
Let me get to where you are. So page 27 there, lines 11 and 12, and I've got it highlighted for you. It says, Ms. Adelson, my parents are, very angry toward him. Is that true?
Was that true?
What you said? Your parents were very angry toward Dan.
Can I read the rest of the sentence?
Sure.
So I say, my parents are very angry towards him, but even when they're around my kids, they would never say a bad word about my kid's father.
And then on page 288, line 24 through page 289, line 1, and that's going to be, Didn't you say, it's like my parents have more reason to dislike Danny than almost anyone else? Is that what you said?
That is what I said.
And that's because he hurt you, right?
And I was saying that in the context of talking to law enforcement for hours and hours and trying to help them figure out who might be responsible.
Right. And who did you tell them might be responsible?
Well, I told them many, many people. But are you asking about this particular moment right here?
You told them your family might be responsible.
Or potentially someone to do with a former student or his current girlfriend. I mentioned lots of people that I thought could be responsible.
Okay. And of the lots of people that could have been responsible, your family was one.
Yep.
Because they might have done this thinking it would help you. And that's what happened, right?
Oh.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Your family had your ex-husband killed to try to help you, didn't they?
No, that's completely untrue.
She got that in twice.
And back to the divorce, the petition where Danny is responding to your petition for the motion to relocate. Are you familiar with that filing, or do you need to take a look at it?
I need to take a look at it.
All right, it's going to be page 79 through 101, and this is back to our exhibit 56. And again, that was, the filing begins on page 79. I'm specifically interested in 82. And in this filing, doesn't Mr. Markel say, quote, the husband affirmatively alleges that the wife helped herself to non-marital assets, including money and stocks owned prior to marriage, as well as numerous personal non-marital belongings of the husband, such as luggage, bicycle, tennis racket, and family heirlooms. The wife has refused to return these items or to allow the husband into her home to see what other personal belongings were taken without his permission or acquiescence.
Oh,
So my point is, he's accusing you of theft in this paragraph.
Those are the words that are here. Yes.
Yeah, and he's very adamantly objecting to your relocation, right? On page 82, it says the sole stated reason the wife seeks to relocate is so that she can be closer to her parents. Was being near your parents the sole reason that you wanted to relocate?
No.
It wasn't the sole reason stated in your petition?
It wasn't the sole reason stated in my petition, and it wasn't the sole reason that he and I talked about before I filed the motion to relocate.
Why was he so adamant and so confident that this was the real reason you wanted to be down there?
I think there's a lot of things in these pleadings that are not true. So just because it says something doesn't make it true.
Sure, but did he know that your mom was just grinding on this issue of trying to get you down there?
He would have had no idea.
He wouldn't have been, that wouldn't have been known to him?
I don't think so.
But he was accusing you in these pleadings of all kind of stuff, right? I mean, I'm not saying it's true, but hiding financial assets, failing to disclose things, kidnapping his kids in the middle of, his business trip, all those sorts of things, right?
Yes, he said lots of things.
All right, and you said a lot of things too. There's filings going both ways that are pretty venomous. Would you agree with that?
I would not agree with that.
Yours were pleasant.
I'm not saying divorce filings are pleasant, but mine were not venomous.
Okay. Did your mother, Donna Adelson, review the filing in which Dan Markel is accusing you of this theft and all this stuff?
I don't remember if she did.
What about the one where Dan Markel is asking that your mother not be permitted to have unsupervised visitation with the kids?
My mom never saw that because after he filed that, he then asked my parents to babysit the kids. And my mom baked him banana bread, gave him a hug goodbye. So there was nothing truthful about that pleading that he filed. And my mom never saw it.
Why do you think he filed that?
He was really angry at me for leaving him.
Okay.
that stands out to me. Okay, I just have to pause. Like, she had that ready, in my opinion, right? She was like, oh, they're going to ask me this. That one time he had to have my mom babysit and she baked him banana bread. I'm bringing that up. Oh, man. So that's just, I mean, I can't prove that she had that ready, but I feel like she had that ready. Little things like that to try and impact the jury. But all this other stuff is like, yeah, no, your mom hated the man. I don't care about the banana bread. If she did make him that banana bread, she may have spat in it. Who knows? I'm just kidding. But all right, let's keep going. What's my next timestamp here? Here we go. She reads through this.
I'm referring back to those emails. And in particular, the bribe. So another bribe to get him to allow relocation. I'm on page 5 of 5 of the first email for the defense. Another bribe to get him to allow relocation should be the offer of plane tickets so that he can fly back and forth, right? So you're going to potentially offer this big monetary benefit that would allow him to fly back and forth to work. Is that the idea?
I never said that I was going to do any of that.
Okay, was that the idea that your mom had?
That was the idea.
All right, and the amount of the bribe is going to be, or was at least discussed as being $1 million. Is that right?
That is what they said.
Okay, and did you agree with that?
No.
Would that have worked?
I have no idea if it would have worked, but
You think he might have taken $1 million to let his kids go?
well, he wasn't letting his kids go. He would have moved to South Florida and he would have commuted back and forth to his job. So maybe.
Well, then why wasn't it offered?
Sounds like you were in
Because I didn't
favor
want
of
to do
it.
All
Why?
right, what about the idea that you could try to threaten Dan to convert the kids to Christianity so that they can fit into the Bible Belt here in Tallahassee? Is that something your mom suggested in these emails?
My mom did suggest that.
Okay, and specifically, this is on page 7 of the exhibit. Let dribbers know that your children will be baptized in the Catholic Church. Have a picture made of them in front of the church, all that kind of thing. That's what your mom suggested at one time.
She did, yes.
Okay, and did you do any of those things?
No, I don't even think I responded to it.
Do you know whether the defendant, your brother Charlie, was supportive of the plan to convert them or pose as converting them to
I have no
Christianity?
idea. I don't think he was particularly involved in this round of my mom's
On
emails.
page 11 of the exhibit.
Okay.
All right, and if we can shift back to, we talked about your divorce being final. Once the divorce was final, weren't there still a lot of filings that went back and forth between both you and Dan Markel?
Yes and no. The divorce was final. We had a final settlement agreement.
Mhm.
The agreement was I take my name off the title to the house. He pays me half the value to the house. So for within the first week, I went and took my name off the title to the house, and I waited until October when he was supposed to get back to me. He never paid me the money. And so I called and I asked what happened. That was the deal. And he said, I have compelling reasons. I'm not going to pay you. And so I made one filing, a motion to enforce the settlement agreement because he didn't do it.
Right. So you believe that he owed you money pursuant to the settlement agreement. And he was
Yes.
in violation of the settlement agreement.
Yes.
He was of the belief that you had withheld some financial things from your affidavit, and maybe he didn't owe you the money that you had previously agreed on because you had not been honest in the initial disclosures, right?
He accused my attorney of having unclean hands and committing a crime.
Yeah, and assisting you in withholding this money from the disclosures.
Dang.
All right, so I want to ask you about the motion to enforce marital settlement agreement and hold Dan Markel in contempt of court. That was filed, you may need to refresh your memory, October 31st, 2013. Give you the exhibit 56 and have you take a look at, this is going to be on 338. All right, could you just read the title, the caption of that filing?
Motion to enforce marital settlement agreement and to show cause why the former husband should not be held in contempt of court.
What does it mean to be held in contempt of court?
It means not to be doing what the court has asked you to do.
What can happen to you if you're held in contempt of court?
I don't know, really.
Could you be jailed?
I don't know.
All right. And when was this filed? This was you filing it, right? I mean, you're the client.
Right.
You're asking that he be held in contempt.
I
You don't know
filed
what
this-
that means?
At the time I filed, which was 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. We'll refresh your recollection with the
Okay.
document. Goes through 340.
Okay, just a quick note here to point out because it's very important for a lawyer to say on the stand that she does not know. Well, I guess she's not practicing as an attorney. She's past the bar. She's a professor of law. You know the ramifications of contempt. It can vary for the severity and by jurisdiction, but it's usually money and or jail time. So yeah, no, you there. I can't say she's lying on the stand here, but you're saying you don't know what can happen from contempt. You can make a general guess, can't you? I would have asked that. Like, what's your general guess as to what happens when someone's held in contempt? Like, come on, you have a law degree.
Okay, I have it.
Okay. So what was it you were asking for in this motion?
It was what I just mentioned. So basically, I took my name off the title to the house. He never paid. This was asking him to pay.
Cough up the money or be held in contempt?
Yep.
Okay. And what day was this filed?
This was filed on October 31st, 2013.
All right. So Halloween of 13. And that's the same day that you backed out of the contract to purchase the house in Tallahassee, right?
I don't
Remember
remember what day that was.
Okay. Do you remember that it was your brother, Charlie, that specifically convinced you to back out of that particular house deal?
I don't actually. I don't remember that. Okay.
Does that refresh your recollection?
Honestly, I can read what's here, but I still don't remember.
Don't really
elegantly.
remember. And after pulling the plug on the house, there were some emails where you were saying you can't answer the phone, you're crying too hard about the house. Like you seem genuinely upset about pulling the plug on the house, but now you don't remember it?
Well, it's been 10 years.
Sure.
So a lot of terrible things have happened since then. It's hard to remember.
Don't recall.
I really liked the house and was excited about it, but it was more than I can afford at the time. That's what I remember is talking with the real estate agent and having her say we'd find another house and it wasn't the right one.
Would you have any reason to dispute that occurred on Halloween of 2013?
No, it probably did. I just don't remember.
Okay. And then a few months later, on February 14th of 2014, there was another filing. I want to draw your attention to page 379. I'll ask you what that document is.
Do you want me to read the title of the document?
Yes, please.
Former husband's counter motion to enforce marital settlement agreements, financial provisions, and incorporated motion for sanctions.
Do you remember this filing?
I don't remember this filing, but in anticipation of my testimony today, I refreshed and reread it.
Okay, and he accuses you in this filing of breaching the marital settlement agreement in various ways, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and committing a fraud upon the court by omitting the $200,000 in assets from your financial affidavit?
That is
in
what he
there?
was alleging.
And asked the court to sanction you?
Yes, that's what he said.
Okay, so again, you're both seeking the court to sanction each other. I mean, them's fighting words and lawyer terms, right?
Well, I was filing a motion to enforce a settlement agreement, so I don't think that's really fighting words. That's just asking the court to complete what it already said it wanted to do.
Okay. And on page 379, Dan suggests that the court send a strong message about your malfeasance by awarding him the entirety of the undisclosed assets of over $200,000, right?
That is what he asked for.
Okay, and then on March 10th of 2014, on page 437, do you respond with your motion to dismiss the former husband's counter motion to enforce the marital settlement agreement that we just talked about?
I'm sorry, what is the page number?
437.
I'm not familiar with this, but do you want me to read through it?
Could you read the caption aloud, please?
Sure. Motion to dismiss the former husband's counter motion to enforce marital settlement agreements, financial provisions, and incorporated motion for sanctions for failure to state a cause of action, and motion to strike as a sham pleading, and motion to strike as redundant, immaterial, impertinent, and scandalous pleading.
And then if you'll go to page
Dang.
439,
Shady.
do you see a paragraph that begins the vast majority of the former husband's motion?
I actually don't see that. On page 439?
Yes, ma'am. I think I have it. Hold on.
On number 8.
Yeah, the vast majority of the former husband's motion contains allegations that are redundant, immaterial, impertinent, and scandalous. Yada, yada. He's making false and immaterial statements against you. His pleadings only prove that he is a disgruntled former husband who cannot move past this disillusion. So it's getting personal. Would you agree with that?
My attorney here is responding to his pleading, which was over the top.
And this is over the top, right?
I don't think so, no.
Oh.
Then 6 days later, Dan files another motion seeking action against your mother. And that's the one we've already touched on. That's page 441. Is that right?
Page 441.
This is where it gets really good.
Yes, that's what we talked about.
Okay. Former husband's counter motion for enforcement of marital settlement agreement on parenting issues and motion for contempt and sanctions. Here he's alleging, again, more violations of the marital settlement agreement, including communication between he and the boys. He wasn't happy with how much communication was happening, failing to keep him informed of where his kids are, failure to communicate about parenting decisions like the kids' schooling, diet, and extracurricular activities, and refusal to provide him access to the kids on their birthdays. He's complaining about a lot of things associated with this, not just money stuff, it's parenting stuff too, right?
That's right.
And isn't it in this motion that, yes, sir.
I said that's right.
Isn't it in this motion that Dan Markel seeks to enjoin you from allowing your mother from spending time with the kids without supervision?
Can you please show me which page that's on?
450. Do you see a paragraph beginning on 3 specific occasions?
Yes, I do.
Could you read that, please?
8A, on 3 specific occasions in November 2013, the children informed Mr. Markel, Abba, Dad, Grandma says you're stupid. When queried as to why Grandma, the maternal grandmother, would say such things, the children replied jointly that it is because she says you are trying to take her sunshines away from her.
And continue, please.
In December 2013,
You don't have to say the name of
Yeah.
your child.
my child, the younger son, further stated to Mr. Markel in front of the former wife, Abba, Grandma says she hates you. The children were visiting with their grandparents at that time.
Mr. Markel is concerned that continued exposure to such negativity forms a foundation for parental alienation. Is that what he was alleging about your mom?
That is what he is alleging in this document, yes.
And this was filed in court.
He filed this in court.
On what date?
It will be at the front of the document, right?
Yes, ma'am. Page 441.
This was filed on March 26th, 2014.
And this was the filing that never got ruled on, right?
I don't believe there was any ruling on
And
this.
that's
Here
because
it
Dan Markel
comes.
was killed before the hearing, right?
I don't know when it was scheduled for.
It wasn't even scheduled yet.
Okay.
It was waiting to be scheduled when he was killed. Is it fair to say your mom was worried about this motion?
No, my mom never knew about this motion.
Oh.
And as I mentioned before, Danny asked my mom to babysit after filing this motion. So I don't really believe anything that's written here.
Well, you forwarded this motion to your mother
I don't believe I
via
did.
email. In fact, you forwarded this motion to 12 different people. Your mom, Jeffrey Lacoste, Renee Griggs, Tova Walsh, Morgan Honeycutt, Gary Cohen, Miguel Edmondson, Trey Hubler, Robert Adelson, Rachel Frank, Jared Reich, and some MEHULNYC@yahoo.com. So if you weren't worried about this, why'd you send it to all these people?
I couldn't really say. It's been a long time.
And then a couple days later, we know what happened.
So this was in March. So a couple days, I filed it. I sent it to people in July when Danny
You
was
sent it. I'm sorry. You sent it a couple days later.
I sent
That email to 12 different people.
in March.
Yes.
Uh-oh. Okay, they're going mute because it's a sidebar here. That I was saying it was about to get good because that just gives so much motive to the mom, who then chews out the brother / son, who concocts this crazy plan with the mom allegedly to just end Mr. Markel's life, unfortunately. But this is getting into some interesting territory, so obviously they want to come and discuss it here, and the prosecutor is doing a great job. I just think that she is rapid fire. She knows exactly what she wants to do, and she has a attorney on the stand, or a legally trained individual on the stand who also has motive behind their testimony. So it's just a really interesting back and forth that they have going on here.
One can be seated. Kappelman, you can resume your examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to talk a little bit about your brother, Charlie. Is he an older brother or a younger brother to you?
I'm the youngest of 3, so I have 2 older brothers. They're both older than me.
All right. And he's the middle child, Charlie?
That's right.
All right. And are you closer to Charlie or to the other brother?
I'm closer to Charlie.
How much time were you spending with Charlie back in 2013 and 2014?
Not a lot of time. I was in Tallahassee. He was in South Florida.
Did he work a lot?
He worked a lot, yeah.
Did he work at one location or travel around?
He would travel around. He worked at multiple locations.
Was he pretty successul in his job?
Yeah, he came up with a great business model for what he did, and he worked really hard and was very successful.
Was your brother known to carry a lot of cash?
I mean, he had cash on him sometimes. I never saw large sums of cash.
Did you ever see stapled cash?
I never saw stapled cash.
Were you familiar with his practice of stapling cash together in stacks?
No, I never knew about that.
Was your brother Charlie protective of you?
I mean, when I was a little kid.
What
yeah.
about as an adult?
As an adult? I mean, not particularly.
Is it fair to say that during the year or so leading up to the murder of Dan Markel that your brother did not like your ex?
I mean, I don't think he probably didn't like him, but I also think he didn't spend a lot of time thinking about him.
Did he ever like him?
Yeah, I mean, I think they got along fine.
Did your brother ever mention hiring a hitman to kill Dan Markel?
No.
I'm going to turn your attention to your law enforcement interview, and I'm referring to page 25, lines 13.
Probably should have told the truth there. Because even if it was a quote-unquote joke, he did mention hiring a hitman at some point.
Okay.
All right, so page 25. You find it?
Yes.
Quote, "It was always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman and it was cheaper to get you this TV." Is that what he said?
That was a joke that he made, yes.
And hiring the hitman, that was to kill Dan Markel, right? That was the joke.
That was the joke that he made in poor taste, yes.
Not to kill someone else.
No. Well, he never used his name.
Okay. Well, he's hiring you the TV because it's cheaper as a divorce present than a hitman. Who else would he be hitting with the hitman?
I never really thought about it because it was not a thing that he meant. He just made a bad joke.
Well, you repeated the joke.
That was interesting that she did that. Because if I was on the jury, I'm like, so what is it? Like, what are you upset about? Are you saying that it was just a joke, so it's no big deal? Or he never used his name, so it wasn't about him? What's your argument there? I don't know. She kind of messed up there, in my opinion.
The joke, didn't you?
He repeated the joke.
Couldn't you also repeat the joke?
To other people?
Yes, like Jeff Lacasse.
I never said that to Jeff Lacasse.
You didn't tell Jeff Lacasse that your brother got you that TV as a divorce present because it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
I may have repeated that joke in the context of the TV, yes.
All right. And who is Jeff Lacasse?
Jeff Lacasse was a person I dated in 2013.
And did you tell Jeffrey Lacasse shortly before the actual murder that your brother really had looked into hiring a hitman?
I did not.
Did he buy you a TV as a divorce present?
Did my brother buy me a TV as a divorce present?
Yes, sorry, I should have
Yes.
clarified that. And was the TV that your brother bought you as a divorce present the same TV that was being repaired on the morning of the murder?
Yes.
Did your mom text you that morning that the repair guy was coming to repair the TV?
I don't remember that
Why would your mom have been involved in your TV repair appointment?
because I didn't purchase the TV. The TV was a gift that my brother paid for, but my mom went and got it and he reimbursed her. So the contract would have been under.
So in the context of this case, this is huge because how ironic that they use TVs as code words in this multiple times. Another time that I don't think will be gotten into this person in this witness testimony, but at one point when the FBI and the state are looking into Charlie and his mother, after they have the other people, they know who did it, but they want and need to connect them to this murder for hire plot. Well, after they have a undercover agent run into them and let Charlie Adelson, the defendant's mother, know that, hey, we know what you did and we're going to extort you for $5,000. The first phone call that the mother makes after being extorted by this guy is to her son and says, it's not an expensive TV, it's about $5. So it's not a big deal or whatever. Like, she's not that worried about the amount of money that they're going to be extorted for from someone who allegedly knew that they did this murder. So it's interesting to me that on the day of the murder, because this chick is trying to say she doesn't know that it's her mom and brother. If they did do this, or if they knew it, definitely she wasn't in on it, right? Because you got to cover your own butt in this as much as you can. So this is just so interesting here. Was your TV even really broken? Like, what did the guy fix? Did they have that set up to have deniability and to cause this weird double entendre? I don't know. So they have a repairman coming to fix her actual TV that she got when this guy made a joke, her brother, instead of getting a hitman to get this TV. Then on the day that the murder happens, a repair guy is coming to fix his TV. That's just crazy. And if this guy is actually innocent and this is all coincidence, man, you are the unluckiest guy in the world. But I just can't believe that they try and pass all this off as coincidence, in my opinion. And again, to bring this back to the Trevisos, isn't this some crazy, damning information that's coming out about all the motive behind this murder for hire plot that also will probably mirror what things are going to look like and how awesome the state is going to do just to manifest it in the Alexi Treviso case. So anyways, let's keep going because it's getting good and we're almost done with it. So
under her name and her number. So when the repair guy was coming, they may have called or texted the number on the account instead of my number.
Okay. And after the murder, do you recall going to a dinner where you got sick at the table?
It was about a month later. And yes, I remember.
Where did that dinner occur? Was that here in Tallahassee or somewhere else?
No, it was in Miami.
All right. And was it like out at a restaurant?
It was at a restaurant.
All right. And when we say you got sick at the table, did you actually vomit at the table?
I threw up at the table.
All right. And did you ever hear your brother refer to that particular dinner as a celebratory dinner?
No.
Did you tell Jeffrey Lacoste that your brother called that a celebratory dinner?
I did not.
Was that
Yes,
sir? Was that dinner a celebration of the murder of your ex-husband?
Absolutely not. That dinner was the first time I left my house after over a month because I was terrified. And if it was a celebration of anything, it was a celebration that I was willing to leave the house and eat a meal.
Do you know Catherine Magbanua, or have you ever met her?
I have met her.
Did you have an independent friendship with her, or did you only know her through your brother?
I only knew her through my brother.
What was her relationship to your brother?
They dated at some point.
Was there anything unusual about her as a girlfriend from your viewpoint at the time?
No.
So she seemed like a typical kind of girl that he would date?
She did.
Did you meet all his girlfriends?
I don't know. I met many girlfriends.
Okay. Did you meet Whitney Kick?
I did.
Okay. And Whitney Kick was after Catherine Magbanua, correct?
I believe so.
All right. And there's a photograph, I'm sure you recall, of you on the beach with Catherine Magbanua. Do you recall when that photo was taken?
I do. It was Father's Day 2014, so 9 years ago.
June 15th of 2014?
That sounds right.
So about a month before the murder?
That sounds right.
Where was this photo taken?
It was in Miami. I went down to visit my dad for Father's Day.
Searching and showing you what I've marked as States 35. Is this that photograph? And I've attached the data associated with it.
Yes.
Okay. Is there an accurate copy of that photograph?
Yes.
Judge, I'd ask to move the evidence States 35.
Okay. Yes, 35.
Commission published.
Met.
All right, is that you in the center?
That's me.
Which one's Catherine McBanoa?
The one on the left, our left in the picture.
And how long had Ms. McBanoa been dating your brother at the time this photo was taken?
I have no idea.
How many times had you met Ms. McBanoa at the time this was taken?
I think once before.
Okay, how many times did you hang out with her total?
Just these 2 times. Once at the dinner when I met her, and then once at the beach for an hour.
Was the relationship between your brother and Catherine McBanoa serious, if you know?
I don't know. I mean, 10 years ago, was it serious? Not too serious.
It never stood out to you during that time frame as like, oh, this is the one.
No.
All right, so you mentioned you thought Whitney Kick was after Catherine McBanoa. What about June Mchinda? Do you know which one that is?
When you say, do I know which one that is? She's not in the picture.
No, ma'am. You're one of your brother's girlfriends, June Mchinda. Do you know her?
I met someone named June.
Okay, and would you agree that was also after?
She
Catherine
got a
McBanoa?
little.
Yes, that would have been after.
She got a little snippy there. I don't know. I mean, the prosecutor could have been clearer, but she was like, she's not in the picture. It's like, okay, yeah, but you probably know what she means. But yeah, the prosecutor could have been clearer. But you see, now she's getting snippy. Now she's getting over it. She's getting done with it. And then the prosecutor can really start to get what she wants.
When did you learn that Catherine McBanoa was blackmailing your brother for the murder of your ex-husband?
Today.
So he never told you?
No.
You testified in Catherine McBanoa's murder trial last year, didn't you?
I did, yes.
And she was convicted
She was convicted, yes.
of murder,
Yes, of murder.
of murdering Dan Markel,
Of murdering my children's
crime?
father, yes.
a crime for which she apparently is innocent because she was just a conduit for Sigfredo Garcia. Did you learn that today along with all of us?
Well, I learned that someone made that argument. I don't know whether it's true or not true.
Okay. You have no knowledge of it.
I have no knowledge.
In all the years this has been pending,
In all of the years this has been pending,
your brother has known who killed your child's father, and you didn't know.
I did not know.
That's a pretty good point, prosecutor.
Do you know why Catherine McBanoa was on the payroll at the Adelson Institute?
I believe that she worked there.
What did she do there?
I know my brother met her at a dental office, so I'm guessing administrative work of some kind.
Did you ever observe her doing administrative work there?
No.
How did the killers in this case know that Dan Markel was planning to leave town the day after the killing?
I have no idea.
You knew he was planning to leave town the next day, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Did you convey that information to anyone?
Absolutely not.
To your knowledge, did your brother have that information?
I don't know why he would have known that.
So if the killers were told it has to be done today because he's leaving town tomorrow, we don't know how they knew that.
I have no idea how they knew that.
But it would have to come from someone familiar with Dan Markel's schedule, wouldn't it?
Uh-oh.
They would have to find out somehow. I don't know how.
Prior to Dan Markel's murder, when were you last in South Florida? Was it this trip that's pictured here?
No, because it was my dad's 70th birthday in early July, so I would have gone down to celebrate his birthday,
Okay, when's Dad's birthday?
July 5th.
How long were you down there for that July 5th trip?
I don't really remember offhand, but my guess is about a week.
Did you see Charlie Adelson on that trip?
Yes. We celebrated my dad's birthday, the whole family and friends, everybody.
Did you see Catherine McBanoa on that trip?
I don't remember if she was there or not.
Did Dad have a birthday party?
Dad had a birthday party.
Was it a big birthday?
It was his 70th birthday.
And was Catherine McBanoa at the party?
I don't remember seeing her there.
Do you remember seeing June Mchinda at the party?
I don't.
Or Whitney Kick at the party?
I don't.
So it could have been any one of them or none of them.
Or none of them. I don't remember there being a girlfriend with him at the party.
All right, so you said the birthday was what, July 5th?
It would have been July 5th.
Okay. And do you know on what day you celebrated?
Maybe his birthday. If it was, I felt like it was a weekend. So maybe if July 5th was a Saturday, then it was on his actual birthday.
Okay, tell me about the event. Who, you said there were family and friends there, about how many people?
Maybe like 50 people.
What was on the menu?
We had paella.
Were you responsible for securing the
Uh-oh.
paella, or is that your brother's job or someone else?
I didn't arrange.
I don't know exactly where they're going with this paella thing, but if she starts not remembering other details, that's going to start looking fishy, and that might be what the prosecutor's trying to do here.
it, but I speak Spanish and no one else could communicate with him. So I spent some time helping him. That's why I remember what we ate.
Okay. Did your dad get any big gifts for his 70th?
I don't remember.
Did you, so there was no big lead up and discussion about some big gift that you were involved in, at least?
I don't remember. I don't remember if I gave him a present. I hope I did.
Do you remember what anybody gave him for that birthday?
I really don't.
Was the murder of Dan Markel your dad's big gift?
I mean, that's, of course not. That's a horrible thing to say.
What about,
Oh,
what about
wow.
the grandchildren, getting full unfettered access to the grandchildren?
My
Could that have
parents
been
had
the
full-
Oh, wow. That was bold of the prosecutor. That was bold. I didn't get this far yesterday, so I'm kind of I only got in the first like 30 or 40 minutes, so this is all fresh to me. Whoa, that was, oh wow, that was bold. Oh my goodness. Hold on, we need to go back just like 10 seconds. I'm sorry, that blew my mind. 30 seconds.
So there was no big lead up and discussion about some big gift that you were involved in, at least?
I don't remember. I don't remember if I gave him a present. I hope I did.
Do you remember what anybody gave him for that birthday?
I really don't.
Was the murder of Dan Markel your dad's big gift?
I mean, that's, of course not. That's a horrible thing to say.
What about what about the grandchildren getting full unfettered access to the grandchildren?
My
Could that have
parents
been
have
the
full
big gift?
unfettered access to their grandchildren always.
Not when they lived.
Okay, why did the attorney not object to that? Even make up an objection if it's not objectable, just object to that. Where are you, buddy? What are you doing? What? I'm sorry, you guys. I know it's not a laughing matter because this is someone died here, but the people who committed the murder have been brought to justice. Now, everyone else who helped are getting brought to justice. So, pardon my laughter, but man, that was crazy. I can't believe she just dropped it like that. And then the defense attorney didn't object. That blows my mind. Why didn't you object to that? Even if it was getting overruled, like you should have objected to that on the record.
Not when they lived in Tallahassee.
Well, whenever they could come up and see them, they did.
They were 50% of the time with Dan Markel, right?
Sure, but whenever they were with me, they had full unfettered access.
On the occasion that we're talking about Dad's birthday, was that one of the times that when you came back to Tallahassee, your parents rode with you and then rented a car and drove home in the rental car?
It was.
And how long a drive is that?
It's about 7 hours.
During that 7-hour trip, or at any time when you were in South Florida, was there any discussion of a murder at all?
No, absolutely not.
Any discussion of what to do about Dan?
No.
Any further discussion about bribing, converting to Christianity, any of those strategies?
No, that ship had long sailed.
Any discussion on that trip about the pending motion to preclude your mom from having contact with the kids?
No.
What was wrong with the TV that was repaired the morning of the murder?
I think one of my boys might have thrown something at it. There was like a little crack in the TV.
Oh.
How long had the TV been broken at the time that it got repaired?
Yes, I'd been wondering that, you guys. Oh, I was like, oh my gosh. She thinks she doesn't know. Oh, hold on. Sorry, again, this is all new to me, so you're kind of watching this fresh with me as well. So usually I'm prepared for you guys, but again, this is casual. This is a little different. That was awesome. I've been wondering that. Good job, prosecutor. I don't know where to go exactly.
One of my boys might have thrown something at it. There was like a little crack in the TV.
Sorry, I didn't go back far enough. I want to hear her question and answer.
Any further discussion about bribing, converting to Christianity, any of those
Okay,
strategies?
here we go.
No, that ship had long sailed.
Any discussion on that trip about the pending motion to preclude your mom from having contact with the kids?
No.
What was wrong with the TV that was repaired the morning of the murder?
I think one of my boys might have thrown something at it. There was like a little crack in the TV.
How long had the TV been broken at the time that it got repaired?
I honestly don't remember.
Could it have been a long time, quite a long time?
No, it could have been. I mean, I would be completely speculating. I don't remember how long it was broken for.
Do you remember who
Yeah.
repaired the TV?
Yes, it was called the Geek Squad.
Do you remember the window that the Geek Squad gave you for when they were going to be at your home to do this repair?
I do. I think they said it was 8 to 12 or 9 to 1, something like that.
Okay. Would you agree with me if I told you it was 8 to 12?
I hope she asked, I was about to say it, but then I wanted her to keep going. I hope she asked, have you ever had another TV repaired since this day? Like, right? That would be crazy. Have you ever had another TV ever repaired? Because what an odd thing. I mean, I guess maybe it happens. Maybe I'm just broke and I buy non-expensive TVs that don't get repaired. But like, what? That's crazy. I I don't know how common and often that is, but if that's the only time her TV's ever been repaired, wouldn't that be very damning?
That sounds right.
All right. And do you recall what time the repairman actually arrived?
No, but I remember they came on the early side.
Okay. And was the repair done?
No,
Why not?
because I called my brother to find out how much a new TV would cost versus how much the repair cost, and it didn't make sense to repair it.
It's cheaper to buy a new TV.
Hmm.
The records indicate the repairman was there for about 45 minutes. Does that sound accurate to you?
Sure, that's my best. Sure.
Why was he there for that long, just to tell you like this thing can't be repaired or it's cost prohibitive to repair? Do you remember?
I don't. My guess is he was there to try to see how he could repair the TV, and then he gave me an estimate, and then I found out what the estimate compared to the cost of the new TV would be.
Who paid the repairman?
I did.
The repairman, you're familiar with his statement that you seemed really upset that day. What were you upset about?
I have no idea.
Were you upset that day?
I don't remember being. Oh, yes, I was upset that day. I was upset.
Wow.
Danny wanted to take the kids swimming, and I wanted to pick them up earlier in the day.
Okay,
And
so it had nothing to do with the TV.
I don't think so. I probably wasn't that upset about the TV.
Did you ever use the TV as code for the murder?
No.
Did you ever hear your mom do that?
No.
Do you remember on July 13th, 2014, seeing Jeffrey LaCasa at your place on Aqua Ridge? Do you even remember that evening?
I don't remember seeing him at my place because by that point we were kind of broken up. So I don't think I would have seen him at my place.
All right. So on that occasion, you couldn't have told him you wanted to share something with him in confidence.
I think that would be very unlikely. We had kind of broken up at that point.
And you couldn't have told him at that time the statement about your brother really did look into hiring the hitman.
I can't imagine I would have said that.
When did you break up with Mr. LaCasa,
What?
or when did the two of you break up?
It would have been end of June, 2014.
So not 4 days before the murder?
No.
All right. So end of June 2014 would have been the last time you saw him.
No. I saw him after that. We were talking and kind of figuring out what we wanted to do, but we had gone on a trip to Gainesville the last weekend in June,
Mm-hmm.
at which point we had a big argument and I really didn't want to be with him after that. So at that point for me, I was pretty much done, but there were more discussions until it, formally ended.
And when was the formal end?
I remember seeing him that Monday night and telling him I wanted to have some space.
Okay. So 4 days before the murder?
So 4 days before Danny was killed.
All right. And that was that the end of your relationship with him?
When I told him I wanted some space, yeah.
Okay. Where did you go after the TV repair man left?
After he left, I stayed at the house for a while and I was working on some pieces of writing. I was talking with various friends. I had a friend in town interviewing for a job at FSU. I was making plans to go meet her. The time got too close before her interview. And then I had two friends that I would often meet on Fridays, just kind of last minute. And so we made plans to go have lunch.
All right. So what time did you leave the house to go have lunch?
I really didn't remember offhand, but I refreshed my memory and saw it was sometime around 12:45.
Okay. So it makes sense that you might have left your residence at about 12:30.
Sure.
Okay. And did you go to the crime scene or very near the crime scene on your way from your residence to, I guess, to lunch or to wherever you were going next?
No, I did not.
So you never turned on Trescott Drive that day?
I went to turn on Trescott Drive, but I saw that it had been blocked off by some tape. And so I just kept driving on Centerville.
Okay. And when you had to turn around at the tape, right, to go back
I
out?
think I tried to turn right and it couldn't turn. So I would have made like the kind of turn, like a K turn, and kept going.
Was there a roadblock there with?
There was tape.
Yeah. And an officer was there?
I didn't see an officer, but I did see a car.
A law enforcement marked vehicle? Okay. Did you have any contact with the officer?
No.
Okay. Did you do anything after that to try to find out what was going on down that roadway?
No, I just assumed it was weather or maybe a tree fell.
Had there been bad weather that day?
What?
No, but it was summertime and there's like
What?
so trees fall. So that would have been pretty normal for summertime.
Where were your kids supposed to be at the time that you encountered that roadblock?
They would have been at school.
And that's at the creative preschool?
That's right.
So were
Who
you
took them to
worried?
preschool that day?
Danny.
And who was supposed to pick them up from preschool that day?
Me.
All right. So did you know for sure that they had made it to preschool that day at the time you encountered the roadblock?
I just assumed. I mean, if they hadn't made it to preschool, Danny would have let me know. But
What?
Did you attempt to call Dan Markel when you encountered the roadblock?
no, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it was related to the house.
Had you talked to Dan Markel or your kids that morning?
My kids know, but that would have been normal. And Danny and I tried to get in touch with each other, but we left. We were trying to figure out where Ben was going to go to kindergarten at the time. And we left voicemails for each other, but didn't get to talk.
Okay. Did he leave you a voicemail message that morning?
He did.
Okay. I asked you earlier about.
Were you worried? Are you kidding me? Why didn't she ask that? She's doing a great job. I don't mean to be hard on the prosecutor, but were you worried about your kids when you see their street is marked off with a police officer at the end of it? Even if a tree fell, I'm going to be like, yo, what's going on? My kids are supposed to be, they live on the street. Like, what? That's suspect to me, and I would have pressed. Were you worried about your kids when you saw a police officer blocking off their street?
Him being scheduled to leave town the day after he was killed. Do you know where he was planning to go?
He was going to New York to see his girlfriend.
The message that he left you that morning, do you remember what he told you in the message?
I mean, I think it was about our son's school.
Mhm.
Other than that, I don't really remember.
Okay. Included in that was it included in that message that he was heading to the gym and was going to be at the gym between 9:15 and 10:30 that morning?
I really don't remember, but that sounds like it could be what he would leave.
Okay. Would it refresh your recollection to review a transcript of that voicemail?
Sure. Okay. Okay,
So did he say in that voicemail that he left you what his plans were in regards to the gym that day?
he did.
What exactly did he say about the gym?
About the gym, he said, I'm going to be at the gym probably between 9:15 and 10:30, but I'm happy to chat or meet with you. Maybe we can go for a walk at school or something like that. Let me know.
So that particular voicemail doesn't sound very emotionally abusive. Would you agree with that?
No, by this point in time, we were parenting really well and we were doing just fine.
Getting along great.
Yes, John. What was that?
I'll strike
Argumentative.
the comment, Your Honor. Did you talk to your brother on the day of your ex-husband's murder?
I did.
Okay, for
And about what time?
non-legal people down, because the prosecutor got snarky with that. That was hilarious. And she struck her own comment after the objection. She was like, I know, I don't even care, whatever. I'm saying what I want to say. So that is just some awesome legal shade, and I love it. He didn't even offer an objection, though. I would have just said argumentative, like. But he just objected, and she struck it herself. But that is awesome. Just giving her, because I don't know what your opinion is, but she's starting to seem suspect to me that maybe she was in on this, right? I'm coming in fresh on this case. I wasn't sure when she first started. That was like, oh, is she going to turn on her brother? Like, was it her brother and mom just crazy? But I don't know. She's suspect. So that was just awesome legal shade.
What time of day did you speak to him?
It would have been right after the repair guys were there because that's when I called him to ask him whether I should get their TV repaired or buy a new TV. So
Okay.
it would have been morning.
How long did you talk to him?
I don't remember.
Does 18 minutes sound incorrect?
That sounds reasonable.
Okay. Did you talk to him about other things other than just the TV?
I really don't remember what else I talked to him about, but probably maybe I would have asked him about his work or we would have caught up.
Did you happen to mention Dan Markel's plans to go to New York the next day?
I don't see why I would have.
Did you have WhatsApp on your phone at that time?
I don't know if in 2014 I had WhatsApp. Now we use it for all the parent chats at school, so everybody seems to have it, but I don't know if everybody had it back in 2014.
What is WhatsApp?
WhatsApp is kind of an app you would use for texting.
Do you know if your brother Charlie had it at that time?
I have no idea if he had it at that time.
Did you ever communicate with Charlie through WhatsApp?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if I had it at that time or if I had it later. I probably would have.
Just not sure.
Yeah.
Did you have any contact of any kind with Catherine McVanois on the day of Dan Markel's murder?
No.
Did you ever communicate with her through WhatsApp?
No, I never communicated with her at all.
All right, let's talk about, well, you communicated with her on the beach.
I saw her in person, but I'm saying I never texted with her, called her. I never communicated via a device other than in person.
Okay. What about when you were talking to your brother? Did she ever get on the phone and speak to you?
I don't think so.
Okay. I want to talk about where you went when you left your residence on the day of the murder. You tried to turn on to Trescott, and then you ended up where?
I went, I was supposed to go to a party that night, a Stock the Bar party. So I went to a liquor store to pick up what they had asked for as the present for their party. So I went to the liquor store, I picked up the alcohol, I stopped, I think I got gas, and then I went to lunch to meet my friends.
And the liquor store purchase appears to have occurred at 12:49 based on the receipt. Do you have any reason to dispute that?
No, that
timing?
sounds right.
Okay. And then from there to the restaurant?
Yes.
And where was the restaurant located?
Mosaic, I actually don't remember. I just remember I would go north on Thomasville Road.
All right.
So it was,
And is the restaurant where law enforcement came to speak with you and you ended up going with them to the police station, right?
that's correct.
Do you agree or disagree that there have been some financial benefits to you and your boys as a result of Dan's death?
I disagree.
When did you decide to change the names of your children from Markel to Adelson?
So
Wow.
after Danny's murder, there was a lot of news. It just hit the media and there were news stories everywhere. And Nancy Grace on CNN put pictures of my boys with their faces unblurred, just pictures of them.
Mhm.
And I was terrified. And so when they started school, I started school with my last name, thinking that would keep them safe, that they
Wasn't-
wouldn't be associated with the murder.
Wasn't the Adelson name in the press? Just
It
as
was
much
not in
as
the press.
Markel?
Not yet.
Hmm.
Do you agree that you legally changed the kids' names on July 6th of 2015?
That sounds right.
So it was actually a year after the homicide.
A year after.
When was the last time you talk to your mom? Did you talk to her today, yesterday?
I talked to her yesterday.
In her emails, and we referenced one of them while you've been here on the stand, she talks about you giving performances and playing roles. Did you discuss anything about what you would do here today in court with your mother?
No.
Oh,
Were you involved in any way in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
Absolutely not.
Did you know what was going to happen, but maybe not know the details?
I knew nothing.
Is that why you went to the crime scene on the day of the homicide?
I did not go to the crime scene on the day of the homicide.
Do you know who all was involved in the murder?
Well, I learned today, but at the time, no.
Have you ever privately confronted your brother about his role or possible role in the murder?
My attorney has advised me not to have conversations with anyone in my family about the case.
mhm.
But you had a close relationship with your brother at the time of the murder, right?
I absolutely had a close relationship with my brother.
And how soon after the murder did your lawyer advise you not to talk to your family about it?
In 2016.
Okay, so what about the 2 years in between? Did you talk to him about it then?
I mean, I talked to him about the fact that a murder occurred, but I guess I don't understand the question.
But you never talked to him about the suspicions you raised in the law enforcement interview that your brother might have done it.
No, I did not.
What? Yeah, good point, prosecutor.
You suspected your brother could have been a part of this, right?
I suspected lots of people could have been a part of
But
it.
he was one of the people, right?
While I was talking with law enforcement for 6 hours, terrified out of my mind, I offered
Okay.
them every possible idea I could come up with.
Right. And one of the possible ideas was that your
Oh,
brother could have murdered your child's father.
I didn't
Yes
really
or
believe that was
no?
possible.
Was part of the plot for you to be able to have plausible deniability about this?
Hmm.
Absolutely not.
Is it better for both you and your brother if you don't know the details of this?
I don't even understand the question that you're asking me.
When did you first
Oh.
become aware that you might be a suspect in this case?
I mean, as the ex-wife,
Okay, this is getting intense. This is intense right now. I have it on 1.5 speed, but she is hammering her. She is hammering her, and in my opinion, she's lying. And the use of the WhatsApp app is a little bit suspect because then you can't really prove who talked to who. So, you're getting suspect, lady. Great job, prosecutor. And I'd be like, yes or no, right? You know, did you offer to the police that your brother could be a suspect in this crime? Yes or no? No qualifiers. Your Honor, you know, tell her to answer the question.
the ex-wife, I assumed I was a suspect from the beginning.
What was your first thought when you were asked if anyone might have murdered Dan Markel for your benefit?
I thought, oh my God, maybe if I hadn't divorced him, he would still be alive. Maybe this was my fault because I
Whoa.
complained to the wrong person. Maybe Dan gave a
Whoa.
student a bad grade and they came after him.
Whoa. Those are not great first answers. Jump up and down, prosecutor. What do you mean if you hadn't divorced him, this wouldn't have happened? Because isn't it because of the divorce proceedings and him not letting you leave this town that your family supposedly concocted this plan? That is not a great first answer. No one can prove what her first thought was, so she should have not said that. In my opinion, I'm not saying she should have lied on the stand, but I'm saying you should have said my boys or something. Like, what? Are my boys okay? I don't know.
After him. I just was trying to think of who possibly could have wanted to hurt him.
But you didn't say any of that before. The first thing you said was Charlie, right?
I don't think so.
Page 25 of your interview, line 5 through 15. Do you have any reason to dispute? Page 25, not 5 hours into it. You say Charlie might have done it, right?
Can I see, please?
You may. This is going to be tab 1, page 25.
What I say here is that he would never do it. Right under the highlighted part, I say, no, he would never.
Uh-oh.
Page 25, line 5 through 15. I mean, my brother, the one, his name is Charlie, the one I'm really close to. He makes a lot of jokes in that taste, and it was a joke he made. He bought the TV for me this morning that got broken, and then I was talking to him about whether it made sense to pay or fix it, or whether I should get a new one. And it was always like, It was always his joke that like he knew that Danny always treated me badly. And it was always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman and it was cheaper to get you this TV. So instead I got you this TV. And you do say you don't think he would do it, but can we agree you brought up his name on page 25 of the interview?
I did.
When asked, would you ever ask someone to do
Not good
something
for
like this? You say not in a million years. When asked, okay, do you think someone would do this for your benefit without asking you? You say no. And when Isom starts to ask you, what good does it serve? You say, I mean, my brother, the one, his name is Charlie. Isn't that how it went?
This is the transcript, but I think there's also inaccuracies in the transcription.
What?
All right. Do you want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
It's not my family.
I mean, somebody hired him, right?
Not necessarily.
Somebody paid him.
I learned something this morning.
Yeah, me too. You didn't want him held accountable if it was your family members. Didn't you tell law enforcement that?
That's not what I told law enforcement.
What did you tell law enforcement?
Oh,
I told them that the person who did this should be held responsible and that I had nothing to do with it.
Page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The investigator says, regardless of who it is, and your answer is, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
But I don't think it was my family.
It's different now, isn't it?
No, it's not different. That's exactly
different
what
today,
I said
isn't
right
it?
here. No, that's not
No
right.
further questions.
oh, snap! Mic drop. Okay, that's it. Mic drop. Wow, that was great. Okay, so I don't know what your personal thoughts are. I don't know if you're gonna follow this case or if you're interested in this case or anything. I might be making a part 2 to this because I do believe that she took the stand today, Friday again. So I might be watching that and seeing some more explosion and obviously check out her cross-examination. But as far as this goes, this was just a phenomenal job by the prosecutor. This was a witness that was a formidable opponent in the sense of, wow, she has all the legal training and all the motive in the world to not make this prosecutor's life easy. And the prosecutor definitely had mic drop moments. This is all for by people who follow the Alexi Treviso case. This is all we can hope for from our prosecutor as well. We can hope that they are prepared, that they know their facts, that they know the plot holes and the loopholes that the defense is going to try and bring up, and that all the witnesses are going to try and wiggle their way out of, because you have to remember some of the witnesses on the state's witness list for the criminal case against Alexi Treviso are Alexi's mom, Alexi's boyfriend, Alexi's boyfriend's mom, people that aren't necessarily favorable to the state. Just like how the first family witness that was called in this case, this was, I think, the second or third witness. They brought in like the FBI agent who helped them connect a lot of this, and someone else, I believe the doctor, to prove that the Mr. Markel had died, and then Wendy. So she was the third witness. Boom, first family witness, right? Kind of like how I don't know how the state will do it. We'll have to see how the evidence comes out with the judge's ruling that we're still waiting for in the Alexi case. But I have a sneaking suspicion it'll obviously be either Rosa or Devin as the first familial witness called by the state in their case. And so we might see, as you saw at the end of that, it getting heated, and that might be more of the Rosa that we will see in the Treviso case. I don't know if she'll be able to maintain her composure, but if the state is able to pull out the conversations and things that Rosa and Alexi talked about in that hospital, the deception that was brought forth by Alexi allegedly, it is not good for Alexi and it's not good for their case. And Rosa is the person who can really discuss all of that, and she doesn't want to, but she will be forced to. So just like how this witness is being forced to put up with the prosecutor kind of attacking her with facts. I mean, how hard is it to be attacked with facts? It's hard to be attacked with bullying, not facts. But so this woman attacking you with facts, if it's going to rile you up, it's not going to look so good. So with that being said, I might do a part 2 because I do think she took the stand one more time. But for everyone interested, if you are more of a true crime person, hopefully this helps you get a little bit of trial coverage and trial knowledge and prepares you for the things we might see when it comes to the Alexi Treviso case. So if you've made it this far in this video, thank you so much. If you are interested in following the Alexi Treviso case or other interesting cases like this to trial, please subscribe as I will be covering them. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave them down below as I love the conversation and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. It's your girl Friday. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.